thank you all very much. Bluntly, we're here to start a revolution. And I'm not kidding when I say revolution. There is no question in my mind that the recent OmniMesh patent to put blockchain on every wireless device today and in the future creates a measurable and manageable new form of money that is perfectly consistent with all the world's major central banks like the Fed. This is exactly what they need. This enables the monetization of vast markets that we have never been able to touch before. In my view, that single patent, and I studied economics, my specialty was the history of money. This is easily the biggest single change in money, what it is, what it looks like, how it's run, how it's managed, since the creation of the Bank of England in 1694. Now, just to give you an example of what the Bank of England was, the Bank of England is why we speak English. Louis XIV thought he could put his son on the throne of Spain in 1701. Well, guess what? Louis ran into two people, an English dude who became the Duke of Marlborough and Winston Churchill's great-great-whatever-grandfather, and an Austrian guy, Prince Eugene. And he's got, if you ever go to Vienna, he's got the biggest palace in the place. It's spectacular. So, the Bank of England funded these two people and destroyed Louis XIV and all of his ambitions globally. Napoleon tried again, Bank of England destroyed him. We speak English, not French. Very simple. The monetization through these vehicles allows us to see completely new forms of revenue that were never there before. And I want you to think of Google, Apple, Netflix, Facebook. These companies enabled us to find new revenue streams that no one could see before because the technology didn't exist. That's what this latest patent does. It is revolutionary. The idea that every single wireless device could be a light bulb in the future, we don't know. We have no idea what's happening in the next 20 years. Will be covered by this patent. You want to talk about bringing stuff to Syracuse? Oh my God. To me, and I'll give you something else here, this is the biggest change in the telecommunications sector since Bell founded AT&T in 1877. And there's a second reason why that should be. The big problem when telephone networks were built over 140 years ago was, where's the money? Walk down the street and look at all those wires and cables. Who had the money to put those in? Nobody had the money. It was an investment nightmare. And all the way through to the very early years of the last century, trying to figure this out, just governments were frying, companies were frying, investors were frying, and finally, the United States government figured it out. Let's give a regulated monopoly to the carrier in your neighborhood. They'll get a guaranteed rate of return. They can then go out and borrow staggering amounts of money and build a network. Now, in the rest of the world, they took post offices, which had revenue, and took all their money and flowed it into building these networks. So, we had a massive problem of capital efficiency. Staggering, huge. we had to invest massive amounts of money, and these companies ended up with horrible balance sheets supported by regulation. You can look at any phone company in the world, open up their annual report, look at their balance sheet, and you'll go, you gotta be kidding. Look at their free cash flow. You'll say, this is insane. This is not working. What does OmniMesh do? In the second part of OmniMesh creates, for the first time in our history, a meshed network owned by individuals. Suddenly, the power of computing, the simple power of the Moore curve to make devices cheap and easy, allows OmniMesh to give individuals not just the control of the network, so forget the wires and cables in your street. I mean, that's a copper recovery project, frankly. And what OmniMesh has done is flatten the network, eliminate all of those structures, and because of its banking capability, it has allowed people who own these things not to communicate up to the net and back and spend a lot of money doing it, but to communicate across to each other, device to device to device, eliminating huge amounts of cost, eliminating huge amounts of problem, and make money while they do it. That's a revolution.
Yeah.
Cheapening it and letting you make money.
That's nice.
This has never happened before. But there's a third piece. A third and really important piece. And that is, if you look at the Apples, the FANGs, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, if you look at those companies, there are physical limits to how far they can grow. The physical limit is that that network out there is so capital inefficient, it can't scale. It just can't scale. Now, I've developed a simple rule, which is, the more the bandwidth demand, the flatter and thinner the network has to be. You throw OmniMesh in there, fits. I've been in the venture capital business in telecom for well over 20 years. One of my early investments is Crown Castle, the cell tower company. Very successful. I could go on. I've seen every disaster in the book as well. I've seen some of the dumbest decisions you've ever seen. I've sat in venture capital meetings where people talk nonsense and then invested. I mean, it was insane. The thing about this concept, this product, is that it is an entirely new platform which monetizes the network in ways that we have never seen before. And this new platform allows the FANGs and the FANG wannabes like Disney to scale in ways they had never, ever been able to imagine before because of the capital efficiency problem of the old carrier structure. So there you have it. An entirely new banking structure, a new communications network, a new way of human interaction. This is massive, it's a change. As I said, it's a revolution. This is bigger than the American Revolution, the French Revolution, and all the other revolutions. Because this is a revolution in the pockets of people. This is a revolution in money. And that is what makes this special, powerful, and unique. Thank you.